Hello and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from DadX, and my beautiful Cormorant. And it's sporting today its beautiful West Ham skin, the one given away just before Christmas. I can't remember the proper name of. Anyway, a year ago today I made my first EVE video, and it was a Cormorant fitted with blasters to kill clone soldier rats very quickly. This is a Railgun Cormorant. It's got 125mm railguns. Here we've got Tech 2. I don't think we need Tech 2 to do what I'm going to do. They were on the ship. I don't use Tech 2 ammo during this video at all. We also have a rocket launcher. Why not? It's a little bit of extra DPS if the rats get in close. The medium shield extender to extend our tank. Stasis Webifier to slow down the rats if they get within 10 kilometers. And a compact Microwarpdrive so we can control the range. And that's what this is all about. Very similar to the Drake on the 4 out of 10. The Cormorant on the 3 out of 10, we're going to control range. Now down in this bottom slot we've got the compact power diagnostic system. It gives us a 5.5% boost to our power grid and a 4.5% boost to our shield hit points and our capacitor capacity. So it's the power grid that's really the bit of the squeeze on this ship. I've also got a rig here, the hybrid collision accelerator. Now this has the unfortunate drawback of increasing the power grid need of our railguns by 10%, although that's modified to 3% by my skills, but it does add on 10% to the base damage of the railguns, which is what we want, and also blasters, obviously, if you have blasters fitted. Now to assist further with the whole power grid issue we have on this fit, we have the auxiliary current router over here, which adds another 10% onto our power grid. Now there are various options of how you can boost your power grid. The skills, implants, and there are modules and rigs. So let's have a little look at the variations you may need, because you might need to do something a little bit different to make this fit work. After we've run the site, I will show you a Tech 1 version of the fit that leaves a bit of power grid to spare. You see I'm quite tight down here, but we'll explore some options and give you a little bit more breathing space. Right, the final rig is the thermal screen reinforcer, just to up our thermal resistances. As you can see here, thermal kinetic nicely balanced on the resistance front, 6200 EHP just over, and not an incredibly high DPS number, but we don't need one. It's all about the range. The rats that we're actually going to be facing, the enemies are quite soft, to be fair. It's just a question of not letting them get their damage on you. As you can see here, I've got a 3% power grid chip in implant in as well. Those implants are actually really so I can run frigates solo in the abyss, and worms and kestrels. We'll look at that sometime maybe, eh? Anyway, another option for boosting your power grid output, and this is going to be a little bit dependent on the base sum that you're working with, is the auxiliary power core. That adds a straight 10 to your power grid output. So when you're looking at a ship, a frigate or a destroyer whose base power grid is less than 100, that's obviously going to give you more than a boost than something that gives you a 10% boost to your power grid. So you need to do a little bit of maths and jiggle things around. Obviously being able to simulate the fit and try that out is a very, very positive thing indeed. But I'd get away here with the power diagnostic system. As I said earlier, 5.5% on the compact version to our power grid bonus. I usually use the compact version. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's obviously easier to fit CPU wise and does give you a little bit more of a boost. So I usually use those rather than just a standard level 1 version. Same here with the compact reactor control unit. Now here that gives you a 12% boost. Now in my case, with my skills, which is power grid management, and my implants, the 12% boost I'd get off that equates pretty much exactly to the 10 that I'd get off the auxiliary power core. So I can use either, and the power diagnostics, the reactor control unit is cheaper. So that's the one I'd go for if I needed that little bit more boost. But as I say, jiggle it around. I'll show you the skills later on when I show you the cheaper alpha fit that will use all of the Meta 1 modules. Now it's about 10 million worth here for this ship. I think it's worth it. These sites can drop well over 70 million, Daredevil blueprints, etc, etc. It's the luck of the draw. But anyway, here are our escalations, which I got from running Refuges and Hideaways in this ship. They're much easier than the site I'm going to show you now. So basically, if you can run this site, once you've watched this video, you can go back, run those sites to your heart's content using this technique very quickly and fish for those escalations. And also, of course, now that you're flying a slightly cheaper ship than many videos will show you need for this level of a site, the low-sec escalations are going to be much less scary for you, I hope. I know from experience in the NPC chats, etc., many players don't bother with low-sec escalations. They're worried about losing their nice ship, maybe a Gila, something they put a lot of time and effort into. Going in a Cormorant and do it, no one's going to put much effort into hunting you. Anyway, we're landing on the gate very shortly, and let's see how we get on. Now I'm going to run the long range ammo the whole time. I've got shadow tungsten ammo simply because I picked some off of belt rats. It's quite cheap if you wanted to get some. It does an extra 10% damage over normal tungsten ammo. But as you'll see as we run this site, in terms of the tank and in terms of the DPS and the Tech 2 guns, we've got plenty of breathing space to run this with a cheaper and more low skill fit. This fit will also run dens quite comfortably too, which you can also escalate into these sites. I'm just bookmarking the entrance gate. If you didn't want to run the escalation, you could come and bookmark the gate and then sell the bookmark to somebody who wanted to go at running it. So that's an option. I'm sure there still must be a market for escalation bookmarks. Anyway, in we go. And let's see what we find inside. I'm going to have a quick look. First pocket, 15 frigates. And then we need to get this guy here. It's a structure to get the keys to the next gates and maybe some loot. So we've landed here 25 kilometers off, which is lovely, perfect. We don't even need to move. We can just start targeting and start shooting. The other benefit actually of the tungsten ammo over Spike, the Tech 2 long range ammo, is that the Tech 2 version gets a huge penalty to its tracking. It's not really make any difference on this site. I've got 3 escalations. The one before this I used Tech 2 ammo and realised it was just munching through it. Tried the tungsten, realised that did it just as well. So there's not really a big deal unless you get in close, which sometimes the rats can get in close. You might want to switch ammo type. If there's a lot of them, we're just going to burn away, which we will do at one stage of this site when I get a little bit too brave. But anyway, as you see, this is just really easy. We're just sat here. We're not taking any damage whatsoever. We're not moving. They're coming out to us. The limitation really is my targeting range, which is, if I'm not getting sensor damp, 41, but these are Serpentis. I will get sensor damped at various times during the site, and that will cut my locking range down. I'll just move in a bit closer. All you need to do is not get in amongst that group. Now, if I was trying to do this in a blaster fit ship, a Cormorant or a Catalyst, which will do this just as well as will any other gun destroyer. I've done this with a Thrasher and I've done this with a Coercer. If you had to go in with blasters, you would be taking so much incoming DPS. Yeah, you're going to one-shot all of those rats, but you've got maybe 10 shooting at you at once. I'd certainly not still be on grid if I'd landed in amongst that group over there. But the way we're playing it here, and now I'm just slowly burning, well not even burning, just cruising across at a diagonal angle. So I'm closing my range, but not too quickly. No issues with the application of the damage. The ones that get in close, you can put the web on to slow them down. You can switch your rockets on when they're within range. But the guns still have no problem with the tungsten ammo, certainly applying enough damage to kill these guys. So I'm going to speed up the footage now until we get over to make a choice about going through which gate. And we'll switch up to 4 times speed, as is now traditional, while I finish off this room. So we need to get to the structure, the supply traffic management structure, take that down, switch to antimatter ammo, just higher DPS up close, take it down a bit quicker. It does take a little bit of munching. And grab the keys. Now we've got a choice of rooms to go through. They're not dissimilar really, they're not identical either. You don't have to do them both, it's completely up to you. You could go through one of them, then loop back to the beginning of the site, fly back through the first room and go through the second gate for completeness. You don't need to do it to complete the site. There is the potential for an extra loot drop. It is entirely up to you. I don't, just for the sake of brevity on this occasion. Now we're into the second room. And it's basically the same. Couple are up close when we land. We'll just take those out, rockets and webs. And then we're all in charge. All very nice, thank you. And it's rinse and repeat. As you heard me say quite a lot lately. PVE, basically, once you learn how to use your ship and use your fit, whether you need to control range. Obviously, there are PVE brawl fits where you just dive in. You've got lots of tank, you've got close range DPS, and you can hack it. A Cormorant can't. So this is how you deal with it. Heading over to the next acceleration gate. I think I just tried to see if I can get through it before they're all dead. I'm not 100% sure whether you have to kill everything or not, but I do. Why not? At least it shows the ship can. The loot on these containers is, that was the one we needed. That was the Overseer's belongings, which is potentially where you might find some faction loot. But these other boxes that you see on the site and the wrecks in general, they're pretty lousy. You could put down a mobile depot and, a mobile tractor unit and pick them up. It just adds a lot of time on for what I've found the couple of times I've had a good mooch around and had a look is not really worth it. So into the next room, 16 frigates and a cruiser. And the cruiser may or may not have some nice loot on it, so we'll make sure we get him. No matter what happens, we've also got sentry guns, so they're my priority because they've probably got the longer range, so they can hit us out. And I've moved straight away when I'm on this room now. It's just the same thing really, get into my lock range and start shooting them. My maximum range is about 39 I think with a tungsten. I let these ones get in close. You'll see the DPS come in, just maybe a few of them here. Getting a little bit close, you'll see the bar go down on my shield. Nothing scary, I'm letting this happen. All you have to do is turn around and fly away. If necessary, turn on your Microwarpdrive just to break range a little bit more. As soon as you pull out the range, you see the damage drops off pretty much completely. So it's really down to you. You can go in, sweep in and out. You could fix an orbit on one of the structures in the middle at maybe 30k. See how that works. That'll work on some sites. It's all about how you want to do it, really. I'm just showing you the basic tools to fit and the basic technique. How you figure this out over time. And please tell me in comments, etc. if you find a slightly better way of doing this. Or find the, whatever your experience is, whatever adjustments you might make to the fit, I'd be happy to hear about them. But this seems to be doing the job very nicely. Basically, as I've said in previous videos, the more money you spend on your ship, the quicker you're going to go through these sites. So your ISK per hour, if you look at your gameplay that way, will increase with your investment. But this is how you get rich, hopefully. Let's see what Loot Fairy says today, shall we? And if you just bear in mind how quickly we take these things down and how much shield we've always got left throughout the running of this site, you'll see what I mean about the leeway that you'd have to downgrade this bit, as we'll have a look at when we get back to the station. I mentioned dens earlier and that this fit is perfectly capable of running a den. It is. What I'm going to give you is a pro tip. When you warp there off your scanning screen, don't click the arrow to warp there. Right click and warp at 20. If you warp in at 0, you can land right in amongst them, as I said you really want to avoid. Take a lot of DPS quite quickly. I did that once and managed to escape. But just right click, warp there at 20 and you'll be in a nice spot to start doing exactly the process that I've shown you on this site. And again, they're getting in a little bit close to me. DPS, not a problem. The incoming stuff. I am using antimatter ammo at this stage because all the targets are pretty close range, so why not? Just to kill them a little bit quicker. But absolutely no stress and no problems for us here. And we'll just polish these guys off here. I'm sure do you need to kill the sentry guns? I really don't know. Just kill them all, that's what I say. So let's activate the acceleration gates, get into the last room. This is going to be the biggest challenge, as it is on most sites. Oh, talking of which, I cleared a 5 out of 10 in my Alpha Drake. Somebody had cleared the first 2 rooms, but I did the last one. And that's really the challenge of that site by far. I may put that video up. Tell me in a comment if you'd like to see that and I'll put it up. But it was just the last room. Now when I said I didn't use any of the Tech 2 spike ammo on this site at all, that was fake news because I've got some loaded now. Simply because they're so far away. I'll get 49 kilometers maximum range out of the spike. So I'm just using it here. As I said, the tracking is appalling. So if things get up close, it's not going to be your best friend at all. But at this range, when the relative traversals are quite limited by the range, most of the stuff's flying straight at you, basically. So tracking isn't a big issue in this kind of a snipey situation. So I'm going to use a bit of that just to keep... I don't want to get in too close. You can see how many ships there are on grid. We will move in closer. We will take some damage, I'm sure. But it will all be ever so manageable, and I'll switch back to the tungsten ammo when I no longer really need this extra bit of range. Although having said all that, they're throwing a succession of sensor dampeners on me, which is cutting my lock range well below my potential maximum range now, so it's a bit of a moot point anyway. So I'll basically just fly in towards them. I'm switching points I'm heading for now. I'm just cruising slowly towards one of the sentry guns and picking them off as and when I can. I'm ignoring the cruiser. None of the ships individually here are any kind of threat. As I say, it's all about making sure there aren't too many of you hitting you at once. Sorry, too many of them hitting me at once, I should say. And as I come in close here to this bunch, it is going to rack up a little bit. But again, nothing scary. And if it ever does look like it's getting a little bit hectic, turn around, fly away. Kick in that Microwarpdrive just like that. Pull range. And just look how quickly the damage readout in the centre of the screen just drops off completely as I pull away from everything. So we're safe and sound again, start picking them off. And if you were to be flying a variation of this fit that had a little bit less total hit points, you just fly in a little bit more slowly than I did there, take it a little bit more conservatively, and just play to the strength of your hull. I can be a little bit more gung-ho perhaps than you might want to be, certainly the first 1 or 2 times you try it. It may take you a little bit longer. I'm just charging in to get these things killed a little bit quicker, drag them into my range. I'm heading into the cruiser now, and I will be taking him down shortly. He doesn't drop me any nice loot, but there you go. Now, if you were running this site as a low-sec escalation, absolutely the only difference would be that you'd have your D-scan open. Bear in mind, obviously, I'm running it at 4 times speed. You've got lots of time. Have your D-scan open, keep scanning. If you see combat probes on your D-scan, then become aware. Then narrow down the range of your D-scan. And if the probes come back onto your D-scan and there's like 6 or 7 or 8 of them on there, you know that you're being scanned. So you might want to just go away then, dock up till it quietens down in local, or there's no more sign of the combat scans on your D-scan. Or you can just wait. You can just bear in mind that the guy's 2 or 3 rooms away from you. Now these sites are actually, in one of my videos, the low sec hijinks video, we hunted a guy on one of these sites. It's quite a laborious task because they're big rooms. You actually have to burn across if you want to get on the guy quite quickly. And if they're watching their D-scan, they're going to see you coming. And you're in a Cormorant, so who is really going to put in a huge amount of effort to get you? They're more likely to come up to try to finish the site and steal the loot than they are to kill a Cormorant, to be quite fair. And the minute somebody comes into the room, you warp away. You're going to be quite unlucky for somebody to come into the room within a tackle distance of you. It's going to be, yeah, just you can go away and come back later, whatever. But I think as a low-sec escalation ship, this is probably the perfect one for you to get to grips with low-sec in. All the rats are dead. It's just me and this here Serpentis supply stronghold, and I've just got to break it down and hope he's got some nice loot inside. I did find one of these sites, and the whole site had been cleared, but this box had not been shot. I guess the guy didn't look up any kind of guide. I literally just flew over, sat there in my caracal, blew it up and got a Daredevil blueprint. So let's see what we get today. That's what the site's all about. Really, it's not about the loot on the individual site that I show you me running, because as we all know, that is a random variable. But there you go. He's dead. We need to then go to the cargo container, which is what the good loot box will be called. There's a few containers knocking about, but it's the cargo container we're after. And regardless of what we've got here, and it's the absolute bare minimum loot that we could possibly get on the site, it will apply. You know, they don't change. So I hope you are now going to chase your escalations, do your refuges, your hideaways and your dens. As I said, get your escalations, or you can scan these sites down as well, and we'll look at that. But we're back home now in the hangar, back in lovely Sailin. And we'll just have a quick look at my skills. And to note, I've still only got level 3 Caldari Destroyer. So all that the levelling up that skill would do would give me a tracking and an optimum range bonus, which aren't really particularly relevant. As you can see, my gunnery skills are far from maxed out for where a alpha could be because of all my little diversions. Engineering skills, they're kind of key here. Power grid management, obviously. Weapons upgrades reduces CPU need, which is handy. But it's up here, advanced weapon upgrades, -2%. Power grid use for guns and turrets. That's the one. Get your eye on that one. Just to have a little little flick through shields. They're pretty much maxed out, but I don't take enough damage for my shield skills to have been any kind of an issue. And also the rigging skill, hybrid weapons rigging skill, there you go, give it its full title, is relevant because that reduces the penalty for the rig by 3%. Right, so here is the cheap version. Now, first of note, I've replaced the rocket launcher. I'm going to sacrifice its mighty close range DPS for the core probe launcher, because you could just go out and scan down some sites in this and run them as well. The guns are now 125mm compressed coil railguns because they're quite cheap and they're going to do the job. I have still got the faction ammo here. Bear in mind that's 10% damage bonus, just if you want to do some maths. But we've got a range maximum of around 40, which matches our maximum lock range. So that's going to work for us very nicely, as we've seen. And in terms of killing the ships that we were dealing with on that site, we weren't under any pressure. Same with the tank. So now we've just got the medium shield extender 1. It does the job and it's very cheap. The compact one is over 8 million. Never use a compact one unless you need one. We've got the Stasis Webifier and the Microwarpdrive as per before. Now in this fit, I've put in the auxiliary power core. And as you can see, it gives us quite a lot of leeway. We've got the Vortex compact magnetic launcher. So everything on here is Tech 1. I've left 11.7 power grid leeway. Remember, the collision accelerator up here is penalising us a bit. If you need to, spot plat extender, ancillary current router rig, which I had in there in the initial fit at the beginning of the video, and then see if you can downgrade the power boost module in the low slot. But as you see, the stats are all slightly down, but at no time during the running of that site was a 10% here or 10% there going to make any difference to our effectiveness, apart from maybe just a little bit of time. If you've got less tank, just take it a little bit more gently and approach a little bit more slowly than I did, and just remember to turn around and fly away. And the Aurora Universalis skin, now known as the West Ham skin, I do like that one. I've got another one. Look at that. Yeah, I've got that skin. Looks like the kind of Cormorant Doom Taxi. Might give that a go another time. Anyway, that's it for now, everybody. Please leave me a comment. I hope you've enjoyed this. Whether it encourages you to start running these sites or it encourages you to go into low sec and stop wasting your hard-earned escalations. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. We've got much more to come. I love the feedback. Get on our Discord if you want to say hello. Like the video, share the video. For now, we'll leave you in peace. Fly safe. Remember, even is believing. It's all down to you and your ship and what you can achieve your way, the way you enjoy the most. For now, take care and goodbye.